deeper into, and that is the College Dropout.
Amazing.
By Kanye West.
Masterful.
Is this 20? Is it 20 years?
It's 20 years.
Yes.
20 years. We just passed 20 years.
We just passed 20 years of the College Dropout by Kanye West. For me, I just have to say this is an album that I can 100% say changed my life and made me love hip hop. Like, this is an album I actually, being a Chicagoan, actually went to the store to buy the College Dropout.
Was this the first album you bought?
No.
Okay.
No. I had bought. My mom had let me buy some clean albums before. This is the first, probably clean version album. One of the first clean version albums. I was allowed to buy the clean version albums. A lot of the younger people don't know that when you bought an album, you can go to the store and buy the clean version of the album with the edited versions. But this is definitely early though. One of the first albums I bought and loved it, man. And it's one. It made me look at hip-hop differently because, number one, being from Chicago and relating to a lot of the things he was talking about, but also just how many different issues he was able to tackle on one album. This album, we'll get through some of the songs, tackles a lot of different issues in the world, in his personal life, within these songs. So definitely a classic. What do you think? What is just the overall thoughts of College Dropout?
No, this is a masterful debut. Because, people have to remember, Kanye was known strictly as a producer. It's hard for people to really think about that unless you're just an avid Kanye fan.
Absolutely.
But I don't think there was really that high of expectations as far as those outside of the Rockefeller camp that really were seeing what would become the College Dropout. You know what I mean?
No, and there were a lot of people from Raucous Records. I know who were advocating for Kanye early on, the most deaths, the Talib Kweli's, and those of that ilk. But even if you all have watched his documentary on Netflix, you'll see a lot of how much he had to really advocate for this album, for people to take it serious, for him as a producer, and for him to have produced so many big songs by that era, for them to take him serious as a solo artist.
Right.
And so you could really see that this is his life's work up to that point.
Absolutely.
And you can tell.
His magnum opus.
Absolutely.
You can just tell from everything. It's he took his time with it. He curated this down to the bone because as the songs transition, you can see the themes unwind. And one of my favorite Kanye songs, it should be most people's Kanye, one of his favorite songs is Through the Wire. And I know I'm bouncing around, but just the power in that song alone, just everything. For those that don't know, he almost died in a car crash, jaw wired nearly shut, and he was inspired to make a song about the experience and just what it feels like going through tragedy. And it's one of the most enthralling songs he's probably ever made.
And I think one of the things that makes that song so just powerful is the fact that you could actually hear how different he sounds.
Exactly.
And the fact you can hear his jaw being wired shut in the song, and the fact that you actually can hear how he's struggling to speak in the song, it's one of the most powerful hip hop songs of all time. And I say that confidently. Through the Wire is, and I think that's one that stands out. There are a lot of songs on. I love probably 98% of this album. And there are probably in hip hop probably 10 albums I could say that about. Where I love everything on the album.
High mark, bro.
Yeah, there's not a lot, but I'll say some of the most impactful ones for me specifically, Spaceship. Spaceship is a song that I've always loved, and I think that it really embodies just people's struggle day to day with working a job and going through just everyday life, trying to get ahead and knowing that there's more meant for you in life,
right?
But being contained by a job or in racism or just not being appreciated in whatever your space is. And I think that's a song that most people can resonate with,
for sure.
Especially in this country. I think that song has always been a highlight for me. All Falls Down, of course, classic, certified classic. Jesus Walks. I mean, there's so many high points, but one of the high points on here for me. And this is because Jay Ivy actually went to my high school. And I remember
I didn't know that.
Jay Ivy and me went to the same high school. Of course, he's far older than me, but he actually performed at my high school when I was probably maybe a junior or senior in high school, and I remember seeing him and like actually seeing the person from that song and watching him perform it. And perform the like extended version of that poem that he gave on the end that was powerful. Never Let Me Down is just a beautiful song. Like Jay-Z absolutely goes crazy on it. Kanye goes crazy on it. And J.I.V.'s like poem is just insane. His spoken word piece on that song is crazy. So definitely some of the highlights on it for me. Like I said, I love the whole album. What were some highlights on it for you?
No, and so Jesus was actually the first Kanye song I ever heard.
Let me tell you something. Rhymefest, who's one of the writers on Jesus Walks, was my first radio interview.
That's crazy. So look at those connections, yo.
It's crazy. Some of the people who don't know, I used to work in radio before getting into academia and becoming a professor. I actually was a radio host, and that was one of my first interviews. Now, mind you, terrible interview because of me.
Why?
Not because of Rhymefest.
I was about to say,
no, Rhymefest didn't do it. No, because of me. Me being young, I think I was 17 at the time.
Okay.
So take this into consideration.
Right.
I'm asking all the wrong questions. I'm asking about Kanye more than I'm asking about the fact that he's running for alderman. Because I'm 17 and I'm like, oh, you help with Jesus Walks and all these songs that I love. So I'm asking more about that than the fact that he's running for alderman. And also, I didn't realize that him and Kanye weren't even in the best of space at the time of this interview.
So
he looking like, man, stop asking me about bro. Like, and they knew it was a phone interview.
Okay.
And, yeah, man, it was interesting. Sometimes I show it to my students just to like be like, look, we all start somewhere. Listen to how bad this interview is. But yeah, man, that Jesus Walks, powerful song.
For sure. Slow Jams. We already know what that did back in the day.
Slow Jams is crazy.
With Twista, and like I love the fact that was that Chicago link up. Like I don't know what that meant to Chicago at the time. The fact that Twista and Ye, like,
man, the hip hop station in Chicago, shout out WGCI, they played that to death. When I say you heard Slow Jams nonstop in Chicago, it was big. Definitely a big one. There's a lot of Chicago on this album, from Common to GLC to Twista. Like it's a very Chicago heavy album, which I thought was really, really dope.
Dope.
And also 2 Words is probably got to be one of the hardest Kanye verses to me of all time. Like Kanye's verse on 2 Words is like legendary. You can tell because of the people on the song, because he's on there with Mos Def and Freeway. You can tell that he was like, I have to rap on this song.
And he had to.
And he had to keep up with what they were doing, and he did, and he held his own on that song. So, man, yeah, this album is just, I mean, it's
amazing.
It's amazing. The only song, and we discussed this off mic, the only song on here that we can say is not amazing is the Kanye's Workout Plan. And to be honest, for me, I'm not even that mad at that song. Like that. You're mad at it.
I'm mad at it because it's just like, what was the actual point? Because you got to think about what songs are in between it. Get 'Em High and Slow Jams. It's like, what reason did you have to, like, I get it. It's kind of a bouncier record. Like, there's not really any other song that could get that club appeal. I know Slow Jams would be played in the club, I think, back then. 100%. But New Workout Plan is not.
But you got to think about it. It's not even a bad transition though, because you're going from the super lyrical rap of Get 'Em High to Workout Plan. Okay, that's a little shaky. But then it goes into Slow Jams, which is another song for the ladies. So it kind of makes sense to buffer it out, because you go straight from Get 'Em High to Kanye's Workout to Slow Jams. That's a crazy transition.
I'm cool. If he would have literally took out that song, that Workout Plan skit, to me this would have been an absolutely perfect album. It's still like a masterful project. I get it. Like, when you see the new workout video, you see it. It's like, it's kind of gimmicky. It's funny. Like, Kanye is funny.
Yeah. And I think the skits in here have the comedic
for sure
component of it too. So I think that that definitely sounds like a jokey joke song to throw in the middle. For sure.
But for me, I'm just like, why? Like, release it as a single. Like, release it as a Lucy. Like, I don't know.
If that wasn't on here, this. And I still think there's an argument for this. I think this would be the greatest hip hop album of all time.
The greatest?
I'm saying that with my chest too. I think if you take out Kanye's Workout Plan and you add one more crazy song on here, what album is better than this? Like, I think there's some that you can argue. You be able, of course, argue Illmatic,
of course.
Or you can always argue, some people will argue Lauryn Hill's joint, you know what I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Another classic that almost has no skips on it. But this is, I mean, if you take out that and you take out Breathe In, Breathe Out, and you add another like crazy conscious song on here, this is the great, to me, this is it.
To me, it's like one of the most, because when people talk about debuts, I don't feel like they actually talk about the College Dropout enough. It almost seems like they always talk about everything. It's Illmatic and then everything else.
It's Illmatic, Reasonable Doubt, and then everything else.
You know what I mean?
Which to me is crazy, because I think that this is definitely debatable for the greatest debut album of all time. And it's a strong argument.
Yeah, it's
a strong argument.
It has me in the last people. If somebody said in the last 25 years, what better debut album is there than College Dropout? I really can't give them a solid answer. To be honest,
no. Some people would argue Good Kid, Mad City.
That's a good argument. I ain't gonna lie.
That's a good argument, but I am not gonna say Good Kid, Mad City is better than the College Dropout.
It didn't hit me the same emotionally.
Me neither.
College Dropout did.
I think it's a masterpiece, but it definitely didn't have the same emotional response as the College Dropout does when you.
Do you feel like you have Chicago bias though?
Yes. I'm
at least you're honest. But if you're gonna die on any hill, I'd rather it be this.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No. If I was from LA, I probably might view it differently.
For sure.
But I think because he's talking about a lot of stuff that resonated with me, because being from Chicago, I think that I definitely responded to it differently, man. And this album is like, even We Don't Care, the intro,
amazing song.
Like how powerful that song is. Like to kick it off with like the kids singing that specific, like, wasn't supposed to make it past 25. Joke's on you, we still alive.
Come on,
like,
now.
To lead the album with that,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to say that somebody has a better debut album than this.
Yeah.
There's some that are on par. Like I said, Nas on par.
Of course.
Hove is on par. Lauryn Hill is on par, but it's hard for me to say that any of them are just by a landslide better than College Dropout. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, though. If I had to pick one album around this time that I would pick over, like between 2000 and 2005, basically, because this came out in 2004, I'm probably picking The Blueprint over this. That might be the only album that'll do it for me.
As just an album that you like more?
Just as an album.
That came out in the same time frame? But he produced on The Blueprint.
It does have that Kanye-ism in it. And Common's B.
Common's B album is crazy.
If we want to talk about nearly perfect, I'm not skipping nothing on there.
No, I'm not. I don't skip any song on Common B.
No.
If you have not heard Common's B album, please do yourself a favor and listen to Common's album B. It is, I mean, just sit down, light an incense, and just sit down and just listen. I don't know why you gotta have incense light. Sit down, light up an incense, and just vibe out to hookah, whatever you need to chill, and listen to Common's album B. It is amazing. It's a masterpiece.
And as someone who's never lived in Chicago, obviously I've been plenty of times. I'm going literally next week. When I listen to B, it makes me feel like I'm in the winter, like I'm in Chicago in the winter. Like I don't know why, but it just got that vibe. Maybe it's bro's hat in the album cover or something. I don't know, but
the corner's on that album.
Yeah.
The Corner, amazing song. And the video is in the winter, they in the cold. Like
maybe that's what it is.
I think you might be attributing it to that
those
music
visuals.
video.
Yeah.
With the Last Poets. Shout out Last Poets, man, too. Who are featured on that song. Man, look, Common's B is crazy, but and when we talk about debuts, I forgot one.
Which one?
We're both. I would be disrespectful to say that one of the greatest debut albums of all time, 50 Cent. What am I talking about?
Oh, yeah, what are we talking
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Get Rich or Die Trying is generational,
is a masterful album. Like that's another one that I would definitely have to throw in the ring for the greatest hip hop debut of all time. But College Dropout is up there.
Up there for sure.
And the fact that he even introduced this whole mascot thing. So there's visuals that you even attribute to College Dropout that makes it even doper. Like the fact that I could just see that bear and I automatically think of the songs on the College Dropout.
For sure.
Is like.
And you see the influences. Like you see, because the bear, like Kanye's bear or whatever, whoever designed it or who helped design like the mascot idea. Like you even see that later on, generations later, with Travis Scott on his album Rodeo, where it's not a bear, but it's like a doll. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's selling a Travis Scott doll. Like some of those things that Kanye, there's just so many things you could take away from it that like us as hip hop fans has seen trickle down years later. You know?